All right, so number one, I went with nailing the basics. It means that the bare basics of what you've got when you're meeting a new NDIS participants, their families, their stakeholders, whether it be support coordinators, you have the basics down pat. Now, this is the very bare minimum, but it means that your branding, your logo, your website, your social media page is all on par with each other. Everything makes sense, is the language makes sense. You're using the same language across. And even when you're speaking to your new person that you would like to attract, you're using the same language. Everybody in your team is using the same language as well, with the same expected outcomes as what you would like to deliver. If you're an independent and this is your very first time, don't worry, babe, I've got you right now, because you also need to talk about your pitch. Because when we do our emails, our social media, that stuff is away from people. When we attract people, we want them to be magnetized into our services. And to be magnetized into our services, it's people, because people trust people. They like the people. People like people, yeah? And they're more comfortable having these conversations. So when you are having these conversations, whether it be at an expo or a meet and greet or wherever you may meet this NDIS participant that you want to intake into your service, your pitch is important. You're like, oh, pitch. Yes, what you say is important and how you attract them. And the best advice I can give you when it comes to the bare basics is that when you're intaking any NDIS participant, you need to listen. Not speak, just listen. Ask questions that lead into next questions and answers, and you're filtering whether this is going to be a really good relationship too. So the type of questions that I would be talking when I meet somebody for the very first time is I would introduce myself as Sarah, but I wouldn't give them the pitch of, I'm Sarah, I'm the owner of the support worker store, because they don't care. What they care about is the quality of care that you could possibly give them as a provider. So what I would do meeting someone for the very first time is I'd be listening. I'd be asking questions, and my questions would be, what type of supports are you looking for? And they might say in home, in community, in a group, and then keep asking questions that lead into more, because this is a part here for the very basics is you want to get as much information as possible from this conversation, listening. And then once you can see there's a bit of a turn in the thing, you should say, you could have, you could answer some of the questions that you've asked. Yeah. Well, it could be that, I heard that you're looking for one-to-one in the suburb of Glenroy. I actually do have a NDIS staff member in Glenroy. That person is middle-aged. They're interested in hockey. They go for the Collingwood Football Club, and on a Sunday they go to church. And then you start talking about your support workers, because your support workers are actually your best marketing tool that you've got, because they're what draws people in to your service as a service of choice. Whether you can match an NDIS participant with a support worker, that is it. That is the conversations that you want, and whether you can match, and that's how we attract people like a magnet.